Okay, hello everyone. This is Valerie Abrahamian with Advocates for Angels, and this is our weekly town hall meeting that we're holding every Wednesday night at 5 o'clock to give updates on IDEA in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic. As IDEA is changing, ever changing, mostly like every day. And so it's an update for that. And just to see how parents are doing across the nation with what's going on across the world right now for the entire humanity, the human race. But we're talking about our special needs kids on IEPs. I want to start out with, so we have some new attendees tonight. So before I start with, because I have some very specific updates I want to read to everyone, so you're really informed on the latest news. But first, I want to go to, we have a new member, Cheryl. So welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And so she's from Florida. And so we want to hear what's going on in Florida in terms of how are they providing you virtual schooling? Do you have laptops? What are they doing? What are they not doing?
So it depends on the district in Florida,
Yeah.
obviously. So some districts, some schools have laptops already.
Okay.
Some schools are providing laptops or iPads to students for e-learning. They're doing that.
Nice.
Some schools, some districts are all different. They run differently.
Yes.
So some districts are doing some Zoom, starting some Zoom calls with SLPs, OTs. Some are trying with ABA. Some are trying to do it. So I would say some of them are trying to do the right thing. Yeah, very so-so for parents. You know what I mean? It really depends on the district. It really depends. And it really depends on who you know in the district and how you work with the district.
Right. Now, that's so interesting because that's kind of what we're experiencing in California. And when I talk to other parents from other states, it's the same, where one district can be doing a really good job with providing virtual education, but then the sister district right next door could be doing the exact opposite.
Yes, or school. It could be even school by school.
Really?
Like oh yeah, Florida is very interesting. Because I've been working. I have a child with an IEP, but I've also been advocating for parents.
Oh, good.
For years.
Oh, that's so great.
So, yes.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Well, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet
you
too.
Fellow advocate.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So, always learning, right? As an advocate, you're always learning and doing and always, right? Or you try to throw the spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks.
Yes.
Like, right? So I'll be in a meeting and I'll be like, throw this spaghetti on the wall. And then the district will be like, really? And I'm like, yeah, they do it in the other district.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Even if they don't, I'll be like, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, really? Okay. And then they'll sometimes do it, right? So that's what I try to tell parents, right? Like, just like, if you don't bring an advocate, just have the confidence.
Yeah, to ask.
And tell them, not even ask, tell them this.
Yeah.
This
and write it down in the IEP that I'm requesting it.
Write it down. Or if you don't write it down in the IEP, write it down that you just gave me a PWN and for what?
That's right.
Right. So I see it across the district. It's a mess. It's a mess. And parents are freaking out. And I feel really bad for parents right now.
Me too.
Me too. Because they don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do.
No.
And
what is so just horrific is that how our Congress is handling it. That they haven't made any decisions, that they're just saying it is voluntary to, and giving the decision making to the district or that, principal at the school site or the state to do whatever the heck they want to do.
And that's what it's falling on, right?
It's a bunch of double talk too.
Yes.
Because so I think I'll just start with, because I want to go over these specific, information that has happened since over the last 2 weeks. So parents can actually know, and then the parents that don't hear this, they can hear it on the replay, so they have a good understanding of what's going on. So on March 20th, Secretary Betsy DeVos announced that students impacted by school closures due to the virus can bypass standardized testing for 2019-2020 school year. So they're waiving standardized testing now. Upon a proper request, the department will grant a waiver to any state that is unable to assess its students due to the ongoing national emergency, providing relief from federally mandated testing requirements for the school year. And she says that neither students nor teachers need to be focused on high stakes tests during this difficult time. Our actions today provide turnkey flexibilities for state and local leaders to focus on the immediate needs of their students and educators without worrying about federal repercussions. We're going to continue to provide every flexibility possible to help make that a simple process. So isn't that nice to offer the flexibilities? Mm-hmm. Then she goes on to say, therefore, pursuant to my authority under Section 8401B of the ESEA, which is the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, I am inviting your state to request a waiver for the 2019-2020 school year of the assessment requirements, the accountability and school identification requirements, and certain reporting requirements related to assessments and accountability. These waivers, through these waivers, your state would not need to administer its statewide assessments to all students, to make annual accountability determinations, to identify schools for support and improvement, or to provide data on its state and local report cards for assessment and accountability. So then she goes on to say, if your state is interested in receiving these waivers, please submit your request to blah, blah, blah in the government. I am enclosed a streamlined template for your convenience that includes a checklist to designate the waivers your state desires. My staff is committed to providing a response within 1 business day. Isn't that shocking that all of a sudden they can do the turnaround in 1 business day? Mm-hmm. When it takes us 75 days to get an assessment, or it takes, all this timeline to do anything else when we want to do for our kiddos, but they can do this in 1 business day, mm-hmm. give you the waivers. Your state need not complete public notification in advance of submitting its request, but rather may notify the public of the request and opportunity to commit at the same time. So it's not giving us any time to appeal it. It's just going to go out, and that's it.
And then it will determine, like, it will be up to each state what they do with it, because with her being a figurehead, like, she can't mandate.
Yes.
She can't mandate those waivers.
No.
But
the states can.
The states and the districts have to, right. And the districts have to do that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Which is insane.
Yes.
That they just want to waive their responsibility mm-hmm. under IDEA.
Mm-hmm.
And so then on March 21st, she then says that, then she sends out this other letter, because then, of course, COPA and all the advocates and attorneys and parents from across the nation are, saying, no, we don't want you to do that. And we started writing all the letters and appealing it. And they were lobbying, COPA was lobbying. So then she writes this letter, and she double talks. And she says, she says, I would like to clarify that federal law should not be used to prevent schools from offering distance learning opportunities to all students, including students with disabilities. This new resource from the Office of Civil Rights, the waivers, and the Office of Special Education explains that as a school district takes necessary steps to address the health, safety, and well-being of its students and staff, educators can use distant learning opportunities to serve all students. Can use. So do you think they're going to? Of course not, because they don't have to.
They don't have to.
It's voluntary. So then she says, nothing issued by this department should in any way prevent any school from offering educational programs through distance instruction. We need schools to educate all students out of principle rather than educate no students out of fear. These are challenging times, but we expect schools to rise to the occasion, and the department stands ready to assist you in your efforts. Okay, so then she tries to backtrack and say, oh, no, we still have to implement IDEA. You know, we didn't say that. And then she goes on to say, school districts must provide a free and appropriate public education to students with disabilities, and the provision of FAPE may include, as appropriate, special education and related services that can be provided via computer, internet, or phone. Although online learning must be accessible to all students with disabilities, federal law does not mandate the specific methodologies by which distance education must be provided. So that was that. And then we go to the next thing, which is she actually does it on April 6th, which was just a few days ago, when it rolled out. And the ESEA is waiving spending restrictions on technology. Oh, this was the good thing, was that they're allowing the restrictions on technology to be taken off, so we can spend more money to provide technology to the districts that don't have it. That's the one good thing that came out of it. But then again, she says, that the department earlier announces the turnkey waiver process, allowing states to cancel federally mandated standardized testing. Since the announcement, Secretary Devos has approved waivers for all 50 states and the District of Columbia. And then today, this morning, it goes on to be a little more specific with those waivers, which include assessment requirements, accountability and school identification requirements, report card provisions related to assessments and accountability, assessment results, other academic indicator results, English language proficiency results, school quality or student success indicator results, progress towards meeting long-term goals and measurements of interim progress, percentage of students assessed and not assessed, the number and percentage of students with the most significant cognitive abilities taken in alternative assessment, and information showing how students in the LEA and each school respectively achieved on the academic assessments compared to the students in the state LEA. So all of the assessment requirements have been waived, and progress, report cards and progress and goals has been waived. So, you know, which is not good, because that opens the door to waiving anything else, because if we're not assessing and we're not holding mandates that progress must be made, then that's pretty much the whole ball of wax. And, you know, not the fact that they're not held accountable to providing specific virtual learning, and that, you know, they don't have to have a instruction. They're not requiring a teacher to come on and say, you know, 3 days a week or whatever, a specific amount of time where the kids will receive academic instruction, see a teacher, be taught by a teacher, and they're just throwing at parents, you know, these assignments, or, oh, check here, and here's some great enrichment opportunities for your child. And but what's really interesting is I was talking to a mom in North Carolina yesterday, and she said, when I told her what was happening in California and many other states, she goes, "That's crazy." She said, "My kids have to actually log in when they turn on their computer and show their teacher how much time they have to be on by a specific amount of time, and they have to do their assignments." And she's grading them. And I'm like, wow.
And that's fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. Like, I talked to a mom yesterday, and I said, "How's your e-learning going with your son?" And she said, "Oh, he's done with the whole week of work in 2 hours." And I'm like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like, so the whole week of work in 2 hours, I'm like, that is not okay. Like really?
Yeah.
Like what is he learning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like really? No.
Yeah.
And I know he's advanced, like he's very smart, but he's not that smart that he's going to get done with all that work.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And there's no oversight. So
no
way to know. And they're not required to show progress or, so yeah, that's not going to work very well.
No.
So, Bonnie, are you still there?
I'm here.
So Bonnie's son goes to a non-public school. So what's happening with that, Bonnie? What are they doing now?
And well, like I said last week, they were up and running. Within the next week, they had some, put together videos for the kids at least, and the ability to log on and participate in the videos and answer some questions. And they're evolving. I think they're really doing a great job.
Okay.
They're talking about even, he goes from 9 a.m. to 1:30. And they say it's okay to take a break and miss whatever you need to do. It's okay to take him away for a while. And he did really need it a couple of days last week. But they're evolving into talking about they're trying to bring in the one-to-ones and try to make a little pull-out session with their one-to-ones.
Okay.
To do actual IEP goals, to work on IEP goals with them.
Nice.
Yeah, they can't quite figure it out how to do it yet within the Zoom realm, but that's in the planning phases. But right now, his aide is online with him doing some encouragement. But even if they have pull-out sessions with his one-on-one, of course, I'm still going to be sitting beside him and making sure he's not running around the house.
Yeah.
While he's supposed to be sitting down.
Right. So is he getting used to doing on Zoom though and paying attention and really taking that in?
It's a long day for him, and I try to make a routine with him, and I try to say it's time to get up. It's let's take a shower, let's brush your teeth, get dressed, and get ready for school.
Yes.
And
good.
I try that routine going, and I don't have any issue getting him to the table in the morning, but as the day wears on, it's harder and harder. And especially when they have their breaks, it's hard to get him back to the table. But overall, I'm very proud of him. He's doing a good job, but it's a long day, and they're talking about adapting different kids to different schedules. Because for a lot of kids, it's really hard, and I can see the other kids on the Zoom, just rolling around and hitting themselves, and really they seem really frustrated.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make it a little bit more interesting, because not everybody has the same capabilities, of course. And
of course.
So
well, I'm proud of him too. That is amazing, Bonnie.
I did lose my laptop last week.
What do you mean?
During one of his behaviors.
He threw it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm on this iPad, so I'm just trying to maneuver it.
Well, you know what? Let them know. Let them know. They should provide, because they've allowed funding for technology now. They've added to the district's funding on that. So, I'm sure CNUSD is going to not want to do that, but, you can say, hey, we need it because he broke my laptop.
And like you said,
or you just need it.
I need it.
Like you said, there's nobody, you can't talk to anybody, but I could sure put in a request through his school and see what happens.
Yes. I wanted to give all parents this tip. Okay. My clients that I have talked to, I'll let them know already. please take video of your child doing work. Take video of when you see regression of that, you know that they were at a higher level of achievement before the virus started, and they were getting services and compared to now. To keep a journal on what you're doing, if you have a schedule, what the district has been doing, what you've been provided, how much you're being contacted by your case carrier and your teachers, because this will be gold when we come back, and you will have evidence to show this is what I received, this is how far my child has regressed. And when we go forward with whatever happens with, are we going to, require them to provide us compensatory services because of regression? Are we going to ask for, whatever we need to ask for, whatever comes out? We don't know what's going to happen, but you need evidence, because otherwise they're going to say, oh, well, we don't see that, or no, they haven't really regressed. But if you have hard evidence in videos and you keep a journal, that's very strong evidence to hold them accountable when we do go back. So I recommend all parents do that.
Well, if the accountability is waived, how would that work even if you proved regression?
Yeah, well, this is like an insurance policy for us. We don't know how all this is going to come out in the wash in the end, and it's better to have it than to not have it. Because if we have the opportunity to get some of these things made up, you will be in a much better place to have that awarded if you have that evidence.
And especially if the parents are being the teachers.
Yes.
Right? And we ask teachers to collect data. So you want to have your data collected, because so it's really good advice, Valerie, because if the parents are the teachers, then the parents are collecting data as if the teachers would collect that data.
Yep.
So it's the same argument, I would think, in an IEP meeting, that this is what the teacher saw during this, and here's the video evidence, and so that's really good advice, right? Yes. To show, because they will always say, if you don't have that evidence, well, we don't see it at school. We don't see it. So now home is school, and this is what we're seeing.
Yep.
So yeah, because every district is different. They're being very vague right now, and they're like saying, we might give those services, right? We might give, it depends, it's case by case. It's so vague that it makes me crazy. It's so vague.
Yes, yes. But yeah, absolutely. Then you're setting yourself up to be able to be awarded whatever we can get when we come back, if you have that data. So
and you're in a stronger position for yourself when you're in that meeting.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what data would I be taking?
It would be just like a journal, or like a diary, Joey, started, he just notes, like he sat at the table at this such and such a time. He worked on this and this and this during this time and this time. Virtually he did this assignment that this teacher gave us. Or when you have a teacher, the teacher was on Zoom during this time, and this is what we worked on. This is what she did. Just like that. You're just taking a record of everything that's happening.
And you could also do, Bonnie, like his off-task behaviors. Like how often was he off-task from the computer? That's a hard learning environment for kids.
Yes. Oh, it's terrible.
Right? So how long was he off-task?
Yes.
Like, so if the teacher was teaching, was on Zoom for 20 minutes, was he engaged for 20 minutes, or was he engaged for 2 of those minutes?
Yes.
Like you want to show that as well when you're keeping that journal.
Yes. And that goes for all day. That he had a meltdown for an hour, and this is what it looked like. So you're just pretending like you're ABA person at home. You know how ABA data is collected?
Yeah.
It's you're doing the same thing.
Okay.
Yep. And then if you see areas in which you see regression and he's escalating in behaviors, you want to videotape some of that.
Yeah. because they lose all the kids by noon. They don't want to pay attention after noon. So and especially hard to get them back after lunch. But we don't go much later than we don't. In fact, it stops at 1:30.
Yeah. So that would be one of the things, you know, after lunch, he's pretty much checked out, you know, it takes him about 15 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever to have any kind of, you know, connection or taking any information. And then he's good for another half hour. And then we stop. You know, it's a record of what's going on.
And they do record all their sessions too, as well.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I wonder if you have access to that too.
Oh, I don't know.
You could record, but you could record it on your iPad.
Yeah.
You could set up your iPad and record it as well each session.
Because
that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Through my own iPad. Yeah.
Can you see the other kids, their faces, the other children? Because they'll say, we can't give it to you because it's confidential.
Right.
I can see their faces and their names.
So you should record it then, because they're not going to give it to you.
Yeah. Or they're going to say they don't have it, or they don't have that agreement with Zoom to get it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So you take it yourself.
Okay.
So Shannon, hi, how are you? Oh, let me unmute you, Shannon. Just 1 second. Let me just do this.
May I say something about recordings that people have impressed upon me? You can't do that. It's against the law in Australia. I'm not in Australia. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Knoxville,
I was like,
Tennessee.
You're in Australia.
My state says I can record you with only one person knowing, and that would be me. So if I know I'm recording you, that's all that's required. Some states, like California, where Valerie is, do require both parties or at least two parties on the call to acknowledge, yes, you can record this. And if there's somebody on the call that says no, well, then you can't record them. Or you can't use them in what it is they're saying, especially like in a group call. So I was just on a Zoom call with Seth Godin and all of that stuff. And oh my goodness, it turned into a mess. And so most people by default are scared to death to be recorded. And I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is that, you know, they're going to say something that they don't want to go on the record with because they lie. Mm-hmm. But if you have two people that, you know, don't need, like in my state, go record it. Just, you know, get a screen recorder. Most of them are even free. But the one I use, it's like $40. It's called Bandicam, and it's terrific. It's got high resolution. You can pause it. You can do everything with it. So I just wanted to point that out.
You said Bandicam?
Bandicam, B-A-N-D-I, CAM, C-A-M.
Okay.
It's lightweight. I can help you to understand it. There's a lot of features to it. It's like about $40. You can use the free version. You just record 10 minutes at a time, and you have their software mark. It says Bandicam across the top. You could use it for free. You know, if your calls are 10 minutes, then fine. If they're 20 minutes, then just start a second session. Stop the recording. It'll stop by itself. Start another recording. But yeah, to buy it, the license is only $40.
Okay.
Nice. Now, but you guys, the district's using Zoom though, right, Bonnie? So you can record your Zoom on your computer and it's free.
Well, I tried that. I don't have the controls to do that. I tried. They don't give you the controls.
Because that sounds weird to me. Because you can go on your computer and just press record. You don't have to they don't have to control it. Whenever you're on a Zoom call, even if it's not you haven't initiated the call, you are on Zoom. I know, you have to have a Zoom account then.
Oh yeah, probably.
Okay, and it's free.
I think I can, like right now I can hit record.
Yeah, all of us.
If you can, I think you need admin privileges. So Valerie would have you to give you privileges, and whoever is recording, or excuse me, whoever started the Zoom call would have to give you permission.
I can press record right now.
Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah, try it.
Yeah, there's not even a button here that lets me do it.
Yeah, I
there's
think
no button here that lets me do it. But if Valerie gives us permission to do it, I think.
Yeah, when you press the record button, it says, "Please request recording permission from the meeting host."
I see that. Yes.
That's what it said. That's what it said for me.
I guess you would have to get something like what Roy's talking about then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Shannon, what's happening in your district? What are they doing?
Oh, it's a lot of well, hi Valerie, how are you?
Hi.
Hi Shannon.
Hi. it's a lot of what you were saying about the whole voluntary option. They're really pushing, hey, there's this site, go on the site and do this spelling quiz or whatever, but it's optional. It just seems like they're really kind of pulling back. So I had a question about, my son's teacher gave me kind of just the same worksheets he was doing in class, which, like, I think it was Cheryl that was saying her son finished everything in 2 hours. It's just not enough work for the week. So if you supplement that, and I feel like Troy can do a lot better just old-fashioned reading and writing, like workbook stuff, as opposed to videos and all the online sites they're pointing us to. If he does that work, can you bring that work to the IEP meeting and say, hey, he did, the work he was assigned, but he did this too. Will they consider that as far as like reassessing him, or are they just going to say, well, that was voluntary on your part?
Well, in terms of reassessing, that's all up in the air, and it depends on how all that comes out in the wash afterwards. But it's still evidence to show what level he's at during the time off, so we can compare it to his present levels before the time off. And it's also showing, this is how I taught my son as a homeschool teacher during the crisis, to show that you took on your responsibility and this is what he did. So it would be a part of your journal and your record keeping.
Right.
So absolutely, you should say those are those are work samples. Those are your work samples for the day. So yes, I would keep it in, date it every day, what he does every day. Take your diary notes and your records. And then if any, escalation or anything that's different, record it, because that's showing that, this situation has caused these new things to occur.
Right. Right. Because the sites, there's so many sites. My son's in second grade and I have a kindergartner too. And between both of them, the teachers have probably pointed me to 4 sites per class. And they want you to log on and do this exercise, and log on this other site, do this exercise. And as far as what you were saying about data collection, there really isn't any. Like one site might have, you read, quote unquote, read the book, it went by, you watched it, and that's 10 points. So what does that really mean if they're going to just look at how many times you went in there and logged in? Like, I don't even understand. Like, I guess this is part of the whole voluntary thing. It's like, do it, don't do it. But it doesn't seem like, as far as they go with collecting data, like these sites are just, educational company sites that, hey, take up your time. So
it's enrichment learning. Right. It's not really teaching new concepts or really effective instruction. It's but again, it's evidence to show when we come back to show, this is what he learned or didn't learn.
Right.
And then the data collection is in terms of like, was he engaged? Was he on task? Did he complete it? Did he learn whatever the lesson was? How effective was it? Those kinds of things. Or no, he wasn't on task. He got up and left the table 3 times.
Right.
He screamed and had a meltdown. That's the kind of information you want to document.
Okay. Yeah.
Great. Were you going to say something, Bonnie?
Oh, I was just going to say it sounded like just busy work to keep him busy. But it's not individualized or even helpful.
It's not individualized at all.
So Valerie, what are you hearing about? A lot of parents are asking, and the district is very vague about keeping kids back. Some parents want to keep them back in this grade, whatever grade they're in right now, to keep them back. Have you heard that? Are you in California?
Yes.
Okay. So what is California saying about that? What is Tennessee, Roy? What are they saying about that?
Yeah, I haven't heard. I've heard some parents considering that or wanting that, but you know, there's no decisions are being made about anything. And you know, that no, because we don't even know when we're going back to school.
Right.
So all of that is just up in the air. But yeah, some parents have thought of, okay, this could be a solution to that losing ground that we've lost, to have the child repeat it again. But yeah, because that's the big question. How are they going to make up all this time? How are they going to make up all this instruction?
Yeah. And some parents in Florida, because I've seen like on some social media sites, right?
Yes.
Some parents in Florida, and I don't know if they're doing it in California or other states, but are really pushing each other to pull their kids out of school right now. Like withdraw them.
Right.
And homeschool them.
Yeah. I wouldn't blame parents at all.
Yeah, that's what they're doing right now too. So that they don't have to deal with this like enrichment stuff, like, you know, enrichment, but then they can like start doing different curriculum. And then if they decide to have them go back, they can just re-enroll them.
Yes. I mean, a homeschool program would be a million times better than this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as many parents that can possibly take that on should do it because they deserve it. They deserve to have, you know, 500,000 kids taken out.
Right.
I mean, there's 7 million kids on IEPs. So,
yeah.
You know, but
yeah.
I don't know after this.
You don't know after this?
Yeah, it'd be a hard thing.
For some parents, it's not.
You're already doing it though. They're doing it right now.
I am
like that, right? Right.
Yeah.
So you're doing it right now. So that's what some parents are saying is they just might as well do it. They're doing it now.
Yeah. Yeah, you are doing it now.
This is super interesting. So April, she told me in passing, and I don't know if it registered or not, that Morgan got held back, or she held Morgan back. April, I don't even know. So explain it to me. So
I don't even know.
Because Cheryl was saying Tennessee, and what's the thing? And I think a lot of parents now are wanting to hold their kids back. Cheryl, is that what you're saying? They want to do this?
Yeah, they want to do it, and the districts aren't like, right, they're being very vague. They're just being vague. Like, can you not? So they're asking, can they do that? Can they hold their kids back if they want to? Because it becomes a principal, right? It's the principal's decision.
Oh, okay.
And at least in Florida, it's the principal's decision if it's held back, except in third grade. In Florida, third grade is a retention year. So if they fail the FSA, they're automatically held back unless they do portfolios on the kiddos, right?
Really?
They have to do portfolios, yeah. So it's a retention year.
Okay.
So not to sound like I'm a bonus dad to Morgan Momo, April's son, just for those who don't yet know the situation. And so I'm learning all this stuff as we go. Here's Momo. He's going to be 10.
He's iPadding.
I believe he's still in third grade, and I believe he got held back a year. Either you, April, or the school did that. Can you explain the story to everyone?
Oh, that was just in pre-K. Does that even count? I don't know. In pre-K,
that's the best time to do it.
Yeah, because he was at that point still getting acclimated, and he needed that extra time in that environment. I can't remember though if I held him back 1 year or 2 years.
Well, he's 9, going to be 10, and he's what, third grade?
Yeah, he's going to be going into fourth.
He's just finishing his third grade year. So, ladies, do you know, is that a year behind?
He was born in
10.
He's going to be 10 in May.
Yeah, that would be like 5th grade.
Yeah.
Fifth grade.
So I did hold him back 2 years.
Yeah, so you did hold him back 2 years then. So let's tell him where Morgan is on the spectrum. So this is just from his bonus daddy. I don't know all that much about it, but Morgan's mental capabilities, he's nonverbal, he doesn't speak, but he hears our commands as parents. Go turn off the light, go put your plate up, do you need to go potty, are you thirsty, that kind of stuff, ready for bed, give me the iPad. He knows all those commands and stuff like that. And hey, is dad here? Is he coming to pick you up? Because he goes out with his dad on the weekends, and he'll go to the window and start looking for dad, that kind of stuff. But other than coloring, you put a crayon in his hand, and he doesn't know his ABCs, he doesn't know how to add or anything like that. So his mental capacity, even though he's third grade, is probably not even like 1 year old, 2 years old, because he can't speak and he can't verbalize that way. So just with that knowledge, his IEP is probably going to be like, how do we measure this stuff? You know, how well he put what together? I don't know. So
well,
April,
it would be in your present levels in the IEP document, which is at the beginning of the document. There's present levels of performance, and then there's the annual goals, and that's what they work on in school.
Roy doesn't know about that stuff. We have not.
I know.
None,
Don't.
zero. No, I'm here learning. Yes.
and his abilities would be in his last psychoeducational assessment, which would show his levels of intelligence, social, emotional, all of those things.
And they tell you,
but I take all that with a grain of salt, especially for a child who's nonverbal. So.
And they tell you that the psychologist tells you, like, we know we don't know your child, and this is a standardized thing, and so they're like softening the blow of what they know the result is going to be. Mm-hmm. That's why I just don't place a lot of weight on any of this stuff. I assess him based on what I see day to day, and I know what he's capable of, and I work with him myself, and I know what the teacher's working on, generally speaking. I just don't place so much weight on the how many times did he do this stuff, because I got way too caught up in that. And like you guys are talking about Zoom calls and virtual classroom stuff, and he would not sit here probably for even like more than 15 minutes if they were doing that.
If that, yeah. Mm-hmm. One good thing is about him.
But he likes the computer though, and he likes the iPad. So he might they have a lot of really fun assistive technology programs now that catch kids' attention because they like the computer, and then that are learning modalities within the fun game or within the fun story that they're showing. That you might ask them about that, April, because he might like some of those.
But he likes touch screen. Like I couldn't get him to type or just
no, it's not typing. It's a program.
It's like apps, different apps where different touch screens where they do them. You can ask them about that. There's so much out there.
So much.
And if they can't help you with it, I'm sure you can find something.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they've been working with him on the, I don't know what kind of device they're using. I guess they're using the iPad, but different apps that they test out. But he's just, he likes his preferred items, and they're having trouble getting him to pick the non-preferred items. And that's where we're at. Like they're wanting to get to a point where they can have him put together just like a few word sentence. But he's not interested in that. He's like, show me like the snack. Where's the snack?
Yeah. So they're doing their program or an ABA or whatever program it is. But I'm talking about technology that is a teaching technology on the iPad that's not working on a goal. It's like teaching them, whatever, a math concepts or reading concepts, but in a fun story form or like a cartoon form or like a game form that kids are attracted to and will want to do. And then they're inadvertently learning because they like what they're doing. Those kinds of things. It's assistive technology teaching programs. That's not those are goals you're talking about. That's why he's not interested, because that's boring to him.
Like they have, like I know a kid, the ones that played with, they were learning multiplication, April, and it was where the kid had to, like, it had little like monsters on the screen. And it would be 5 times 3 equals, and then it had 3 different things, and they had to hit the monsters. And then they liked it because the monsters exploded with like the things that the kids like. They're like, well, explode it, right? And then it came back again. Like they don't want the monsters to come, not scary monsters, but things that kids like, right? So there's
like
all those,
when you get
right? Like, oh, I got that, yeah.
Yeah,
so
but what do you do when you have a child that like there's only like a handful of things that really light them up? I mean, if it was 5 Lukes and 5 Lauras and you had to multiply them because he only watches soap operas and news and like he likes other kids, like, but it's if he's watching something on video and a certain child's voice, it has to be like a certain pitch, a certain tone for him to take notice. So it's all trial and error, but
yeah.
I mean, they have a lot of good stuff on YouTube that he's found himself through the algorithm because he finds something he likes and then it'll shoot out new things. Like they do a lot of kids that are showing how to brush their teeth, and it's not a cartoon, they're actual kids and they're singing, and he gets really engaged with that. But
see, so there,
so good,
he does have interests on that they could use that as learning. Yeah. So yeah, assistive technology is a really good way to teach kiddos, especially nonverbal kids, because they like it. And they so you have an assistive technology specialist in your district. So what you do is you say, I'd like it's an assistive technology assessment, and then they'll do.
She got fired. I don't know if they replaced her.
Well, they have to, because they have to have assistive technology. It's the law.
They have assistive technology, but she used to be at our IEP meetings, and now there's no assistive technology person at our IEP.
Well, that's their problem. You can still ask for it, and they have to give it to you. And if they don't have someone, they have to contract out to get and hire someone from a private agency to come in and do the assessment.
See, we didn't know that.
Or they could borrow one from another district.
Or borrow one. Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah,
or I'll just bring Roy with me to the next meeting. We'll get all kinds of stuff.
Well, two things I wanted to say really quick. I think noticing Momo Morgan as someone on the outside now starting to look on the inside, he's like a typical male when he's on the iPad. He wants to know what else is on TV, right? It's like he doesn't necessarily focus on that one thing. Oh, good. Now I'm going to watch this for a half an hour. It's like he always wants to know what else is on. That's a typical male with the remote. It's like, what else is on TV?
Switching the channels like a typical male.
Yeah, it's like a typical male. And then secondly, from what I understand, both his teacher and his aftercare teacher and assistants, they all love him. So they don't treat him like, oh, he's blank, even though he's probably at the end of the line when it comes to his cognitive reasoning and all of that stuff. You know, they take that into consideration, and they still love him, and he responds. Because I know when he responds to someone that is giving him love, as opposed to someone who isn't, like his own grandfather, and he just shies away from that. But so that's the good thing about his teachers, is that they love him and they work with them at his capacity.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to give Sharice and Dasha a chance to say hello. So Dasha, let's see. Let me unmute. If you can unmute yourself, or maybe I can unmute you if you can unmute you. We'd like to say hi.
Hi.
Hi, Dasha.
Hello. Hi. What state are you in?
California.
Oh, okay. Great. What district?
Romoland. It's a very small one.
Yes, I know Romoland. I've had several cases there. Yeah. So what's happening in your district? What are they doing?
Well, nothing so far.
Okay.
They are actually they're offering packets for us to pick up.
Okay.
For our special needs children as well as neurotypical. But my son, who is autistic nonverbal, is not really responding, to the non-colorful black and white packets that they're printing out. So on the second week of the shutdown, I reached out to his teacher and asked if I could have his file folders and schedule that's used in the classroom. Unfortunately, she was told no. But after they closed the schools down for the rest of the school year, I emailed the principal and asked for his items, and they said yes, no problem. So good. I'm meeting with the teacher tomorrow, actually, at the district office to pick everything up, and she's also going to be making some other things for him. But
good.
Yeah, so, that was just me reaching out. They're not really, posting that anywhere for parents to reach out if they want extra things. But
no, they're not. But that's good. Keep in contact and keep asking for your needs to be met. But so anything virtual are they doing?
No, ma'am, not yet.
Really?
Speech, they haven't gotten us any speech services. Matter of fact, as you guys were talking, I was emailing the special education coordinator of the district again about, what are they going to do about speech? My son gets telehealth anyways, speech. from SLP in Texas. So I don't see why they can't do that here, but
yeah, that should be going on right now.
Yeah, that should be easy, but I just don't know what the holdup is. We're already 3-4 weeks into the shutdown, and my son hasn't had any speech services.
I would absolutely write an email to your district representative and even CC maybe the director or who's ever over your representative and ask, you know, is there any reason why this can't begin right away? Because it's already a virtual, you know, provision.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as occupational therapy, haven't heard anything about that either. I'll follow up on that. But he still has been getting his outside services, you know, through our insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
Via
he
telehealth.
has been or has not been?
He has via telehealth.
Okay. See, the healthcare industry has done a whole heck of a lot better than the educational realm.
Yeah.
So they're already doing what they need to do virtually. So, and you know, the education, we've had other things like this happen. So it's not like they don't have the capability to do it. So it's very disappointing the way they're handling it. Yeah, I worked with, I can't think of his name now, your director there in Romoland.
Ayala? His last name Ayala?
He's the program specialist. He's the program specialist, the one above him. I can't remember his name now.
Oh, that's the highest I've gone was Mr. Ayala.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I worked with him too. Yeah. Yep, I know all those guys over there.
Nice.
So yeah, but I think I made this recommendation before you jumped on, is that be sure to take data collection and keep a diary on what your child is doing so that you can have that as evidence when you go back to, if there's, so you can show regression and you have evidence of, I did my due diligence as a parent teacher when I was supposed to, and this is what I did every day. This is how long I worked with my child, you know, just take like times that you worked, what you did with them, what assignments they did, any behaviors they had, any changes in their behavior or new behaviors that come up, those kinds of things, because then you have, you know, a record of what occurred during the time that schools were closed.
That's a great idea. I'll definitely do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So Sharice, do you want to give us an update? Are you there, Sharice? Okay.
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. Can you just tell me Mommy's on the phone and I'll be right up, okay?
Yeah, so give us an update on your kiddo, what's happening with you guys. So, because it's nice to just for parents to compare the differences.
Sorry, I have all these kids at home alone. My husband's at work. And I'm 7 months pregnant, so I'm not.
Oh my God.
Wow, congrats.
Reese, I forgot. That's right.
Remember the surprise baby?
Yeah.
So, so things have been really interesting quarantining. With all these kids trying to do different programs for each one. Pregnant. I'm a nurse, so I work in a hospital with, you know, exposure. So it's just been very interesting.
Wow.
So my experience, I'm a little disappointed, just in general with my child's school district, and not even just from the IEP point, just overall education point, because we've been out this is our 4th week. And we're still not starting any kind of distance learning till next week, which really stinks. Even I have a neurotypical 1st grader, and I mean, they don't give us any guidance. They sent, you can access these websites, but okay, so I get him on this math program, but what should he be working on? He's in 4th grade. Should he be, you left off doing fractions. Should he do the fraction? Should he do this? I would have liked some guidance.
Yes.
I personally don't care if it's for the education part, if it's virtual, like if he's on Zoom all day long, or if, you know, they check in once a week, or if I would just have been happy if the teacher just emailed and sent assignments. Like you can get on the district website and access the math book and the language arts and do these chapters.
Right.
Something for him to do.
Yeah. Have you communicated with the teacher at all?
Yes, I have. She would send like remind messages through the Remind app and things saying like, your kid can email me if he, you know, or whatever. Happy St. Patrick's Day. She would just check in like that kind of stuff. But I was the one who then reached out to her like, hey, he's having a hard time.
Yeah.
Because his life is structure and routine.
Yes.
He's not giving me any assignments.
Yep.
And he needs stuff to do. He's very smart and he can finish work very quickly. So I need a lot of stuff for him.
Yes.
And she had given them a math assignment and a California mission assignment on the last day of school and it closed. And so that's really what we were focusing on for the last 2 weeks. And then they were on spring break last week. But he's done with all that. And we still have this whole week. So I've been making him do different websites and different things.
Good.
Just to try to keep him busy myself.
Yeah.
But you know, the teacher's been really good. The teacher, the principal, the case carrier, all those people I already emailed and said, look, these are my issues. He doesn't sleep at night. Now that's resolved. But the first 2 weeks he wouldn't go to bed. He's convinced that he's going to get the coronavirus. He wants to take his temperature 800 times a day, you know, all these things. So I've kind of documented a lot that way, sending emails. When they respond. Good. But I was just overall disappointed with, you know, like, you know, they keep saying, be patient. We're trying to put together distance learning. It's like, but in the meantime, why can't the teachers just email, do these assignments?
I know. It just seems.
And I know it's different for children in special education classes, but he's in a gen ed classroom and he should at least be getting some kind of assignments.
I'm really surprised because the gen ed teachers are way more stringent about having their kids do work. So that's really shocking.
It is. And what I keep getting response from the principals, from teachers, from district people I've talked to is, this time is a gift. Use it to be a family. Use it to do things. And it's like, that is great, but he needs some of his day occupied with other things.
Oh, yes.
Or we're going to go crazy and like screen time. Now I'm letting him have 3 hours a day and, you know, sometimes 4 if it's like a movie or something, because I have to fill his day with something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he's going to go crazy.
So Charisse, I think you should absolutely too take more notes and records of what his day looks like and how you tried to fill in time for him. So you have that evidence when you come back to show how insufficient they were the first whole 4 weeks, which is a whole month of instruction that you get.
Yeah. And the teacher did do a Zoom call finally yesterday. Because next week is when they're mandated to start doing the distance learning, but she was trying to get stuff and, you know, it was a disaster. The technology froze, everything went wrong. And it's a large class. It's the first time we've had a lot of students in his class. But it's a big class and the kids would just keep unmuting themselves. They were sending messages. They were putting up different like things for their faces. And I'm like, none of them are even listening. They're just dinking around. And my son is a copier. And I don't want him to copy that stuff.
Right.
And do those kind of things. So I would like have to say, no, you can't chat. No, you can't do that. Well, they're doing it. Yeah, but because their mom's not sitting by them and they don't care. And so I actually at the end told my husband, oh my gosh, I'm kind of glad our district hasn't gone gung-ho on the virtual, because I would have to sit next to him the entire time if he was online. Okay, are you picking your nose in front of everybody? Are you chatting? Are you doing this? For him doing workbooks and worksheets and me just kind of teaching him is way better.
Okay.
Because I feel like he's going to pick up a lot of unhealthy things. From the other kids. But he is already saying like, Mom, I don't think I can go back next year to school because it's been too long. It'll be too long by the time we go back. And I'm not going to be used to it. And I'm going to forget my conversation skills and I'm going to forget this. And so he's already kind of psyching himself out.
Those are things you should write down too.
Yeah, I have been.
Yeah.
Even
and what day he says that.
Videotape him saying it.
Yeah.
You know, get all this stuff on record, Charisse, for sure. Get it on record.
I mean, the first 2 weeks were rough. I feel like he's adjusted to being at home now. But I think he is going to get way too comfortable doing online stuff and not having to converse that my fear is he's going to want me to homeschool him.
Yeah.
But he has so much potential that he needs to be at school to socialize.
No, school is so much better for him. And he's doing great. It'll be a transition back in.
Well, and that's what he said. He goes, this is such a bummer this happened because I was having a good year finally.
Yeah, I know.
So.
So definitely, you know, he might not regress in academics because he's so smart, but even so, you know, he's going to regress in his social skills.
Yes.
In his behavior.
Yes. Oh yeah, he has gotten aggressive a little bit again.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we had eliminated, but
you
know, it's hard when you're stuck in the same house all day long with your siblings to not lash out at them.
Of course. And so ABA is not around at all?
So we don't have at school, he doesn't even receive ABA. I mean, we do the aid from the private agency who provides the ABA, but since he's not in school, they're not providing that.
Because the agency isn't, or the district saying they're not?
No, because the district had said no.
Okay, I'm gonna check on that because that's not the information I got for seniors.
Yeah. That would be great.
Right.
Because they were telling me that's the only service we have through an NPA that is not 12 months. That one is school year.
But school's back in now.
Yeah, technically. So that's what I'm hoping, that now that we're going back in, we can get it, because that would be awesome if we could have his aide come to the house and do stuff. They
won't come to the house yet. It's going to be virtual.
Okay. Because his aide is seeing home cases. I know that. Their clients he already had, you know, as home cases.
ABA is coming to the home?
Yes. If the parents want
it,
them, they will allow that.
Okay.
And I know his poor aide is hurting for money. He has no hours. You know, he was working 30 hours a week with Everett.
Yeah.
Now he's not getting anything. I know he would come. I would have him come, because even though I know it's a health risk, and as a nurse practitioner, I know all the risks, but I feel like for Everett's social, that benefit would outweigh the risk for me.
Yeah.
You know, to have him come to the house, or even if it was virtual, but Everett needs that to maintain that contact with that aide.
Yes.
To keep that relationship going.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm going to check on that right away.
If you can find that out, that would be great, because now that we are going back technically next week, then maybe we could start with.
Yeah. I'll check on it right away, because there's no reason why all of your non-public agencies should be serving virtually, because they all are serving virtually. So the district should be providing those services. There's no reason for them to deny it. None. Okay.
Good. Yeah, and like I said, I've emailed our program specialists, and I don't ever get a response from anybody at the district.
Oh yeah, they're radio silence. Now I can get through. I've been in contact with directors.
At least I got, the phone call today that we're going to do via Zoom his auditory processing, and they are still going to do his social skills group via Zoom. So the 5 boys will be all on Zoom together with the facilitator at the NPA.
Okay.
So those 2 I have, but I have not been able to get any answers about if the NPA, if the aide can come and provide ABA or virtually.
Okay. All right. I'll find out for you, and I'll let you know as soon as I can. Okay, you guys. Well, this has been great. I want to give one last announcement. I'm starting it's called Net Friending. And so it's going to be more on the side of meeting the needs of parents in terms of, it's like a what am I trying to say, April?
Support, emotional
support group. Yes. It's a support group for parents. And so I'm going to be, the update on the law on IDEA. So to keep you up to date on your rights, parent rights, and what's happening with IDEA. And Roy and April are they have an outreach called Net Friending, where they talk about April as a mom of a special needs child, and Roy is the bonus dad, he calls himself. And so because parents need connection, they need emotional support, they need a community of like-minded parents who are experiencing the same things now in this crisis, just about their kids and how they're dealing with it, to give ideas and information back and forth. Well, this is how I'm dealing with this, and this is how I'm dealing with that. And last night we were up all night because our kid couldn't sleep, and all those things that are happening with us. And it's just, you know, we don't have anyone really to talk to. And so it's just a platform to provide all of my clients and my tribe to meet that need. And so go ahead, April. You know, you want to talk about net friending a little bit?
Here, let me start.
Yeah, you start.
Let me start. What you don't talk out, you will act out.
There you go. That's a good one.
Does anybody relate to that? I you know, when I was going through the most like painful time in my life, that was like about 25 years ago, I was literally frozen and I didn't have anybody to talk to. I talked with my siblings, I talked with my parents, but they didn't get it. They didn't understand it from my perspective. And they were all giving me advice like, hey, you should do the Brady Bunch thing. And it's like, no, I can't. I don't do Brady Bunch. Because in the Brady Bunch, you didn't see the parents. You know, the other side, the other family was all nice and neat, but it was really, really ugly. And I went to therapy, got counseling, and the overarching aha moment for me was, but you don't talk out, you will act out. And that's why April and I are doing this. We're providing a safe haven. Mm-hmm. You can come, you can share with us individually first. When you get comfortable enough, you can share with the group, you can share with each other. We're all about friendships first. Mm-hmm. and getting to know one another. Not everybody that crosses your path is going to be your friend or your best friend. And we get that. You just have to be friendly towards them. And if you don't fit, you don't have to, you know, build a relationship if they want one with you, because haven't we been told by our parents, go out and make friends? And it's like, I hate that phrase. I say you can't make friends, because if you want to be my friend and you want to make me your friend and I don't want to be your friend, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't even bribe me. So a better way of saying it is, why don't you go out and befriend people, be friendly with people, not even to people, but for people, right? Because life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. And if you don't have that mindset yet, that's where you're stuck. That's where the most pain will come, because you think everything's happening to you. So
well, and I think
go ahead.
The greatest thing about it is that it's with other like-minded parents that are experiencing the same thing. So that common ground is the key, because you know, we can't talk to our friends about what we're experiencing if they don't have a special needs child. They don't understand. They don't really, it makes them uncomfortable actually, and they don't know how to respond. So with us, we know what each other's talking about because we're living it too. So that's the great thing about it. So within the next couple days, everyone's going to be receiving an email about it. And I'll have a video on there about April and I talking more about it and some of the issues that we're going to be discussing. And then we'd like to invite everybody to come to that. So you'll be getting an email soon. So I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I hope everyone will be back. And it was so nice to meet you, Cheryl.
Thank you. It was nice to meet everyone.
Yes, Cheryl.
Thank you.
It's nice to talk to another advocate.
I know. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come on.
Thank you. Okay, you guys, have a great week. I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.